mature Christians or maturing Christians, but we don't see Jesus. I looked at the scripture and I looked at Hebrews 2:9, and it says, "But we see Jesus." And I thought, no, we don't. I needed commentaries. I needed translations. I needed to look this up and find out that somehow it had been misinterpreted or mistranslated, because we don't see Jesus. And I surrounded myself with all of my resources, and the text still came out. But we see Jesus. The people who received this letter didn't see Jesus either. They had not experienced walking with him in the flesh. They had not seen all of the things that Jesus did on the earth directly. They didn't see Jesus either. So what is the author trying to say? And how is this a word of hope for us? The question, as it turns out, is not whether we see Jesus, but it is where we see Jesus. Now take a look at Hebrews 2, starting at the end of verse 8. "Yet at present we do not see everything subject to him." So we don't see the Christ of the second coming, where all things are put subject to him and under his feet. But it says at the beginning of verse 9, "But we see Jesus, who is made a little lower than the angels, now crowned with glory and honor." And the verse continues, but we'll stop there. We see the Jesus who did all of these things, who went through this suffering. We see Jesus crowned with glory and honor. Today, the Jesus that we see is not just the creator of the universe, creating a long time ago and continuing in the process of creation today. It is not just the Jesus who walked in flesh on the earth. It is not just the Jesus of the second coming. We don't have to wait for that, because the Jesus that we see right now is the Jesus who is crowned with glory and honor. And this is where we find our message of hope in this passage. We all get to places where we say, "I want to believe you, Jesus," but these are our moments of discouragement and defeat. We all get to places where God's Spirit says go, and we say, "I want to follow you, God," but whenever we get to places where we feel separated from God or less faithful to God, whenever we get to places where we say, "Jesus is great and all, but," we find in this passage a new ending to our sentences. The end of the sentence in the scripture is, "But we see Jesus crowned with glory and honor." Jesus defeated everything. He is the brother who is crowned with glory and honor now. When we see this vision, we are reminded that the Jesus who defeated all of those things then is still the Jesus who stands with us in victory now and can defeat all of the things that we face today. This is the crowned brother who was honored for his humility. And so we remember that we will be honored for our humility as well. Our humility will become our crown. Some situation in our lives may feel like it is out of Jesus' league, but we see Jesus crowned with glory and honor. He has defeated everything. And so in God's power, so can we. In our moments of defeat and discouragement, all we need to do is change the end of our sentences. We change the phrase from, "God, I want to follow you, but I am afraid," to, "Holy God, I am afraid, but I see Jesus crowned with glory and honor." When we see where Jesus is today, we see that in our darkest moments, we know that we can make it through because Jesus will be victorious over everything one day. But Jesus has already been victorious over everything that we can face in our lives right now. Right now in our lives, when we wake up, when we celebrate, when we struggle, we see Jesus crowned with glory and honor. May your eyes see Jesus as he is now. May the ending of your sentences change. And may you be given the strength by God's Spirit to follow God wherever you are called to go.